Lately, I've been checking Angry Joe's feed again because I found myself interested in the slow, steady decline of the channel. He's not putting out anything of value. The views are going down. People don't care about Marvel and Warhammer 40K slop. Okay. And it's very exciting to see because this is a channel I've hated forever. This is a channel that has been doing everything in its power not to talk about Nintendo. And kind of being the stereotypical example of everything wrong with video game YouTubing. Okay, a complete sellout shill, to put it in simple terms. But I was actually looking at the news feed the past couple of weeks, and I actually realized that Nintendo was talked about a lot in regards to the Power World thing, in regards to the emulation thing, taking down Ryujinx, and I believe uh, supposedly copyright striking YouTubers, which I still have not seen any evidence for. Like, again, three stories regarding Nintendo over the past couple of weeks, and all of them are negative. This is the thing that gets me about Angry Joe, and this is the stereotypical thing I see from every gaming YouTuber, every single person in this industry besides me. Most gaming YouTubers only talk about Nintendo when they think they can get away with making some insane clickbait conspiracy about them, right? Clownfish TV will talk about Nintendo when like Princess Peach changes its box art, or that they think they're going after Power World because they're scared. You'll have like censor shitters talk about like localization changes and the things that uh, Nintendo of America do. You'll have people like try and say that Nintendo is woke now because Zelda is playable in her own game, right? Like you have all this you had all those weird videos a while back, like when Echoes of Wisdom got announced, of people like just going crazy, like, oh man, these aren't real Zelda puzzles. It's been casualized. Like you really get this sense that the vast majority of the audience on YouTube really, really detests and hates Nintendo. And this is kind of like the purpose of this channel, is exposing this and talking about this and bringing this up. But it really needs to be said is that the vast majority of the Nintendo related news stories that hit the news cycle, that go viral, that are talked about, are overwhelmingly negative, to the point where it's honestly not like kind of sad. And I can't remember the last time people actually got excited for a new Nintendo game. Like for the past 3 years or so, like people have like gaslit themselves into thinking the Switch is dead and that the Switch 2 is coming out like within the next 6 months. And before that, it was the Switch Pro, right? Like, don't buy a Switch, don't buy any games, just wait for the Switch Pro and you'll have a better version of the same thing. Like, it's just a big cope to try and keep Nintendo discussions negative. And recently, it's gotten way, way out of hand. Like more so than it has been in a long time, since like the Wii U days. Because you just have people coming out and just making these absolutely insane statements about the company, right? You can watch like Angry Joe's Nintendo Direct reaction, right? The one from a couple of months back, where he's just sitting there and every single thing, he doesn't know anything about any of these games. He doesn't care about any of them, right? He doesn't have anything interesting to say. Like he is a complete brain dead, like consumer who's upset that there's no Marvel or Warhammer 40K on stream, right? But no, apparently it's Nintendo's fault. Like it's Nintendo who's not producing any good, interesting games, and not the overweight Mexican just shill who can't like accept the fact that Nintendo makes games that are better than what he usually plays. Again, we saw this with like um, how exactly is it acceptable for a channel like Angry Joe's to not cover major releases like The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom or Fire Emblem Engage or Super Mario Bros. Wonder? Like how do you go through an entire console life cycle and only cover a single Nintendo release, which is Breath of the Wild back in 2017, right? Like again, the only Switch game he actually played and reviewed was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which was a complete joke and really shouldn't be talked about at all. But again, like this just goes to show you just like the mindset that the the unwashed masses are in, like the greasy fast food devouring, Dorito Mountain Dew drinking, like gamer audience. Like this is how they actually behave. Is that they ignore all of this like really good original stuff on Nintendo consoles in order to create some fan fiction alternate reality in which Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the best games ever made, or that something like Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 is like a good game, uh, or that Marvel is a brand worth caring about. You know, like instead of like actually enjoying products and experiencing all kinds of wildly different things. No, I have to just create just I only we have to create this weird narrative that Nintendo is constantly failing, right? How exactly has the YouTube commentary community looked at the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom sales of 20 million 20 million units and seriously gaslit themselves into thinking that was a bomb? Right? Even though that's like significantly more than Baldur's Gate 3 did, even though that's even though Mario Wonder uh, did well as well, right? Like even though that like more Nintendo games are coming out that are doing well, like no, it's a failure, and it's a testament to how the Switch is falling off and PC, Xbox, and PlayStation reign supreme. It's just a big cope, right? I've said this before, but Tears of the Kingdom is going to be the game from this period that people remember like 10, 20 years from now. That and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Like nobody's gonna remember Baldur's Gate 3. Just like nobody remembers Dragon Age Inquisition or Mass Effect, really. Right? Again, these are games that will fall by the wayside the instant that something newer and shinier comes along. But the Nintendo games will remain popular and played forever. And this is kind of my problem with like the Angry Joe model of just like talking about ooh the big new thing, but conveniently ignoring every time Nintendo puts out something better than the new shiny thing. Like again, why do we go through this this cycle every major Nintendo release, where like nobody actually talks about the Nintendo games that actually come out, and instead hyperfixate on like pushing these weird narratives like Power World did nothing wrong or that emulation is completely legal. Like this is the stuff the community actually cares about and will actually rally behind and will actually obsess over. Like none of these people talk about games. None of these people care. And when you realize that, when you really at your core realize that that is 100% true, you really wonder why anyone takes these people seriously whatsoever.